Yo, what is up guys? This is Troy D from the Troy D 24/7 Mod channel, your source for on point and no hype reviews. Welcome back yet again everybody. It's another day off for me, which means I get to do another video on a fragrance that I personally have always wanted to review, and I know that a lot of y'all really want to hear about. So here it goes today. We're gonna do another one. Now, as some of you guys know, I came back from Hawaii. I had like a 2-week vacation out there, and when I was there, I took a lot of really interesting fragrances with me that I would wear like all day for testing or just to wear out there when I was out in the islands. And I've got a lot of really exciting data for you guys that I've learned from a lot of these perfumes that I tried and tested while I was out there. Now, before I continue, please do not forget to like and subscribe, guys, okay? The channel is growing, all right? We're headed towards like 2 million views. We're headed towards 12,000 subscribers. We're currently at 11,100. So if you haven't yet, please make sure to like and subscribe, guys. And we do have 400 plus videos. So if you liked the format of this video, the no hype format of this video, trust and believe that the rest of them, the other 400, are going to be on the same format. There's nothing other than the real deal reviews on these fragrances that are super hyped out there. No BS, no bias. I just tell it how it is. Now, today we are going to talk about a fragrance from the house of Boadicea the Victorious, guys. All right. Now, Boadicea the Victorious, I'm one of the few reviewers that do them on YouTube, at least. And for me, I like Boadicea the Victorious. I like the house primarily because they do have a lot of fragrances that, in my opinion, deliver. This is one of the houses that I do have a lot of full bottles of fragrances because, in my opinion, like I said, a lot of their fragrances deliver. A lot of them are actually, in my opinion, worth the high cost of Boadicea. Boadicea, price range wise, is between 300 to 1,000 and beyond. And I will say this, that a lot of those fragrances that I got that are on the 1,000 or maybe 700 to 1,000, in my opinion, I happily gave him my money. I said, man, that's great. This fragrance, for example, like Valiant, is worth the money. Here's my money, take it. I love it. Now, this fragrance has a lot of hype within the Boadicea the Victorious circles because for some reason, a lot of people that have tried this say that it's the best Boadicea out of everything. And in my opinion, right now, if you ask me point blank, my favorite is Carbon Sapphire, and I haven't reviewed that, my bad, but for me, Carbon Sapphire is the best Boadicea. Now, some of my friends and some people out there consider this fragrance to be the best Boadicea. So we're gonna find out more about this fragrance. There's also a bunch of interesting notes on the algorithm of this fragrance that I'm sure a lot of y'all are wondering, like, man, oud, pineapple, what's going on here? So I'm here to explain that as well because, man, I wore this fragrance to death. Now, this fragrance is none other than Boadicea the Victorious Aurica, and this is the official sample from Beverly Hills Perfumery that cost me an arm and a leg as well. So this fragrance right here is an $850 fragrance. Now, 2020 was when this fragrance was released, and that was the year of the rat. And like I told you guys, this fragrance is part of that yearly Boadicea like Zodiac release. And so this one right here has the rat on the bottle right there, but it's called Aurica. So it's a beautiful name. I'm not sure about the rat. But anyways, I also did one for this year, Boadicea the Victorious Tiger. So if you do have time to watch more Boadicea videos, I'm gonna link it at the end so you can go watch Tiger for this year, 2022 as well. Now, here are the questions that I will answer on this review. Number one, what is the overall theme or the overall smell profile of Aurica? How does it develop? And most importantly, is it worth the $850 price? Because damn, that's pretty expensive. Is it worth that? And more importantly, why do people like it? Why do a lot of Boadicea collectors like it? Why do some of my friends think that it's the best Boadicea? So we're gonna figure all of that out today. Before we do that though, let's go spray this thing right now. Okay, so the interesting thing about Aurica, the first thing I'm gonna say is that, man, it's totally different when you just spray it one time on your hand or on a piece of paper or on a test strip versus actually literally wearing this, okay? And the reason why I say that is because, in my opinion, a lot of these fragrances, even if they use similar notes, this is just the nurse in me, you know. It's like the dosage though of each of those notes might be different. Some notes are just stronger in dose than the others, guys, okay? And that really affects what this fragrance, like the final product, will really smell like. Now, of course, when it comes to Aurica, we're gonna talk about the pineapple without a doubt, guys. And the pineapple right here does remind me of the pineapple in Olay by Monegal, which means straight up fresh, photorealistic Dole pineapple right here. And the funny thing is, when I first sprayed this on my hand, and I know I should have done a first sniff video when I was actually in Hawaii, headed to the Dole plantation, which is full of pineapples, like it was actually like a lot of pineapple. It was such a strong dose of pineapple, the pineapple note on my skin, just spraying it right here, that's almost all it was. And that's the reason why I didn't make a first sniff video. If you guys saw like the first sniff video on Montabaco Verano, for example, it was literally grapefruit for like a long time, okay? So in this case with Boadicea the Victorious Aurica, man, the pineapple note is very strong if you just spray it right here and smell it, and it lasts a long time with no evolutions. And I was just like, man, I don't think that's really what it's gonna be though when I wear it, you know, when I do a full wear. And so when I sprayed it on myself, then I realized why the dosage of the pineapple was higher. It was because Aurica, they wanted to make sure that you would get this beautiful sillage around you that lasts a long time. And I'm not saying it was pineapple forever, obviously, but that pineapple, that fresh, Dole, photorealistic pineapple, man, it is just boom. It's just, once you spray it, it's going to hit people, okay? And that sillage, like I said, does last. Okay, the second most prominent note is going to be your mandarin orange, guys, okay? The mandarin orange couples with this pineapple almost immediately. If you actually wear it, like, you'll smell the mandarin orange, and it curves this fragrance, guys, okay? And I know a lot of y'all guys, when you think about pineapple, maybe you're thinking about a freshie, and especially when I say like it's like a Dole photorealistic pineapple, you might think, my gosh, he's talking about something really fresh. And that's partially true. But then when you have mandarin orange come in, trust me guys, it actually sort of like curves this fragrance, okay? And it goes from like a freshie to almost like just like sweet and something that you can wear, I would say, to like an indoor occasion, something that is not really super uplifting. It's like a partially uplifting fragrance. If this was just pure pineapple uplifting, I think that's gonna be underwhelming to those that really wear Boadicea, because that really doesn't smell expensive and glorious and regal and all of that, right? But this note right here, the mandarin orange, is such a beautiful citrus curve that actually once it comes in, it gives you the feel of something that can be worn anytime, anywhere, and on an upscale nature. So the mandarin orange is a lovely note. I mean, I'm glad it's there because it's not gonna be just a one-trick pony with the pineapple. Now there's another key note here that makes this fragrance wonderful, and that's going to be your cedar, guys, okay? So you're gonna get some cedar needles right here in the beginning. I don't know what's the difference between cedar needles and cedar. Either way, it's a woody note that goes right with your mandarin that, like I said, curves this fragrance. So actually, in the end, it turns out to be very balanced rather than uplifting. Like, you'll get that huge bursting sillage of fruitiness from that pineapple, but then again, the mandarin orange, like I said, and the woody cedar actually curves this fragrance. And I think that represents like restraint. It represents control, restraint. And I think that that's key when it comes to these very expensive fragrances, that you have an element of restraint and control, something I've talked about in my other reviews. And it's not just some reckless, fruity bomb, you know what I mean? So I like this part right here, is very key. Now there is an ilang-ilang note right here that adds another dimension into this opening right here. And the ilang-ilang note actually is one of those notes that I think you would have to really try to smell. But for the most of it, guys, I think that the ilang smell will just like go over your head or go over your nose because it's not that strong. It's a bridge note. It just like adds another floral dimension to this already fruity and woody intro right here. But it's not like the ilang is a prominent takeover note that I could say like there's an ilang note that's really out here. It's not, guys, okay? It's just going to be a slight bridge note that maybe most of y'all won't even really smell. Now this is really interesting, guys. The ilang-ilang is a bridge note to a prominent floral note that to me, I don't know, like to me it was very, very familiar. And this floral note is none other than marigold. Okay, so marigold is a prominent note. It's strongly dosed here in Boadicea the Victorious Aurica. And marigold, guys, is a note that is prominent in one other fragrance that I really, really like. And that's Boadicea Freak, guys, okay? So I love Boadicea Freak. Marigold is part of that beautiful, unique, really like easy to know intro of Boadicea Freak. And I know, guys, that Hanuman is the Boadicea Freak of Boadicea. I will compare the two, I promise. But I think that they took a piece of that and they put it right here in the mid because it's very, very likable. The marigold note is sweet and it continues the trend from that pineapple mandarin that comes in. Now remember earlier I talked to you guys about the dosage, right? Because the dosage really matters. Right here in the beginning, guys, you've got a really strong pineapple, like I said, and when I sprayed it on my skin, that's almost all I smelled in a very intense way. Here on this mid, guys, the marigold is the strong one, and it is coupled by another sweet floral, which is jasmine. Okay, so I know that you're looking at the notes of Aurica, you're seeing Cambodian oud, you're seeing rose, guys, but that's probably what makes you guys really wonder is how the hell does it bridge into that if you have pineapple and orange and woods? Well, that's because it really doesn't, okay? Majority of this mid is going to be marigold and jasmine together, and it makes more sense. It's a sweet, semi-uplifting combination that takes from that pineapple intro. Now, let me say this, guys. This whole part though, although for me, I only talked about it for 5 minutes, this is it. This is the majority of the fragrance, and it lasts so long. And I'm talking about like maybe 5.5 hours from that part, the first part with the pineapple, the beautiful sillage, all the way to the sweet marigold and jasmine. This is majority of the fragrance. I mean, this is really long enough for you to judge the fragrance, for you to really wear it everywhere, for everybody to really smell you. So I really want you guys to take a note of that, that's really the majority. That's the main characteristic, or these are the main characteristics of Boadicea the Victorious Aurica, because it lasts 6 hours. Most fragrances, like, they don't even last 6 hours, and I'm talking about significant scent, and we're only here in the mid. Okay, we're not even really finished with the mid, and that one was already like 5.5 hours. So that's pretty crazy, guys, okay? This long period is going to be really sweet, semi-uplifting, and I think that in this case, all the notes are kind of like in unison. So you kind of feel like a similar theme all throughout. And I would say that this is maybe comparable to, like, say, the formula of designer perfumes. And like, why do a lot of people love designer perfumes? Because you can take a winning formula, something that smells really great, and really all the notes are in unison for hours and hours and hours, so people can compliment you, people can really enjoy the smell. They're not really evolving as quick as some of these niche perfumes. It's kind of like the designer formula, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but that's the same thing here with Aurica. You're gonna get really a very similar scent for hours and hours and hours. That's because, again, all these notes are working in unison. Now, to me, first impression, that was kind of underwhelming. And now I understand why there are a lot of people that also say, man, you know what? It's not really worth the money. You know what, guys? Here's the thing. I totally understand you guys. When I buy Boadicea, when I blind buy Boadicea, I really do expect something really crazy, okay? And maybe that's just me. If that's you, then that's great. If not, okay. But for me, guys, you know, like, I've been reviewing a lot of these niche perfumes, okay? And I'm talking about the $1,000 ones. And I'm going to bring up Roja because, in my opinion, Roja is like the best to ever do this, okay? And what I mean by that is that when he launches a perfume like Turandot, or Lakme, or like Chypre Extraordinaire, some ridiculously priced fragrance on the $1,000 and up, okay? Roja actually gives us some notes that maybe the common person won't really understand. It's too complex, it's too crazy, it's too foreign for the nose, and you know, that formula itself, that psychological like process is actually what makes people think that these fragrances are worth the $1,000 price tag that they do command. Because really, is Roja setting his bar up right here, and we're trying to catch up to his nose, to his concepts. And you can also see this similarly done with Ensar Oud. Ensar Oud rolls in with a bunch of really crazy concepts, and the fragrances are not cheap, you know, 500, 400, and they sell out. And from that point, it's like a mystery because there's only a few people that like connected to what he was trying to do. And so it's not the same case here, guys, okay? With Boadicea the Victorious Aurica, everything on that time window that I just told you guys, the 5-hour time window, is super understandable. At first, I was kind of like, oh man, it's really not worth the $800. But guess what? For the rest of the trip, guys, this is what I wore the most. This is what I wore daily, day and night for like pretty much the rest of my trip. And I was just like, man, I'm starting to really like this fragrance. I'm really starting to enjoy that sillage. I'm starting to really enjoy this 5 hours right here. And so I think that this fragrance is very usable, and it's on the grabber slash upscale grabber part of the spectrum. This is not gonna be one of those like specialty perfumes that you guys are thinking, like maybe Blue Sapphire or Dasman. It's not gonna be like that at all. This is a fragrance you actually gonna wear. So if you expect to kill a bottle of Boadicea, this might be one of those rare bottles. For me, it was Ardent that I finished, but this might be one of those few Boadicea fragrances that you're gonna actually finish the bottle because you're wearing it a lot. Now going back to the dosage, guys. So the Marigold Jasmine dosage is strong, okay? So actually this Cambodian Oud and Rose that you guys see on the notes is gonna be like the Ilang Ilang. It's gonna go over your nose, it's gonna go over your head, it's gonna go over your radar. It's just gonna come out as an exotic woody note that is warming, and it's a bridge all the way to the dry down with the rose kind of coupling with that Cambodian Oud. But then again, like I said, you are still gonna get a blanket of marigold and jasmine on top of it. You're just not even really gonna detect it. So some people will probably say there's no Oud, there's no rose. Yeah, I mean, it could be that you're not even really smelling it. I can smell it, but it's not enough for me to say that, oh, there's an Oud part here in Aurica. Ooh, there's a rose part here in Aurica, or a rose Oud part here in Aurica, because nah, there's no way. And it doesn't even really make sense because it would mess with the uplifting, semi-uplifting sweet nature of Aurica. Now on to the dry down, guys. Now this part is really not so complicated. I mean, it's just a bunch of green notes. You've got some vetiver, some oak moss, you got patchouli, you got amber and vanilla. And really what it is just a simple combination of mosses, in my opinion. Like, it smells like oak moss and some vetiver with some slight amber. And that's really what the rose was for. It was kind of like, the bridge into that slight ambery note or amber vanilla right here on the dry down, but it's actually still got that oak moss. You know, it's got that vetiver and oak moss that, in my opinion, there's still, even with that greenness, there's still that semi-uplifting nature, of course, matched up with that amber, so it's kind of balanced. So you could say that it's a balanced dry down right here from, I would say, 6 hours all the way to 8, 9, 10. Now the final boss, or I'd say like the final base note that really matters here, is going to be sandalwood, and it matches well with the amber. So I would say as the green semi-uplifting notes from the dry down kind of like fade away, you are going to get some nice amber wood all the way into the dry down. And with that being said, I would say that this fragrance has 10 hours significant scent. And again, that's significant scent. So it could go into a skin scent past that, but I didn't really count that anymore. But for me, 10 hours of significant scent. But really, like I said, I would wear this because of the usability, just because it's so wearable, it's so usable, there's nothing bad about it. You're gonna really like the sillage that it brings, and I think that a lot of people will also like that around you. So I mean, if you liked Hanuman, for example, which is really more full Boadicea freak, I think that Hanuman and Aurica are on the same kind of like, you know, they're freshies, but they're not. They're more wearable indoors as well. So I think that this fragrance is very, very great. But I wish that the price was somewhere on, I don't know, like Azrak. You know, like I wish that it was on the Azrak level. I wouldn't say like on the Ardent level. I believe that's the lowest, like 200 something or 300. But I mean, at least they could have just made this on Azrak level. And I think people will like eat this up if it was on that price range of Boadicea, not the $850 range. I think that most people that are paying for that, if they don't know what they're doing, if they're buying blindly, I think are gonna be disappointed because it doesn't smell like that at all. But of course, I mean, hey, you know, you gotta lick your wounds, man. You know, like maybe, you know, if you don't want to get rid of it, again, use it because it's a grabber. I think this fragrance can be worn in the fall, and it could also be worn in the spring. I think that it's so versatile, and I think that the effect is just so like easy to understand. It's so easy to guess what the effect is of this fragrance that, man, it doesn't matter. You can wear it on date night. There are so many likable parts on that first 5 hours up until that marigold jasmine combo that I think you're gonna be good, guys. Okay, so yeah, I really like Aurica. I wouldn't pay $850 for it. If people are reselling it on a partial bottle, maybe on a cheaper under 500, maybe I would buy it. But it's not going to be the Boadicea that maybe you guys are thinking about that are going to be as crazy as the others, as say Valiant or Carbon Sapphire or Dasman. It's just not going to be one of those. It's going to be a grabber, which makes sense because Boadicea markets to people with money also. So maybe this is the grabber for people with money. You know, $850 ain't a thing, and I wear this like every day, don't matter, then maybe that's what it is. Okay, it's a grabber for the rich, who knows. And that is my review on Boadicea the Victorious Aurica. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully I gave you guys some good insight on this perfume. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. If you've ever owned or tried this fragrance, does this go into your top Boadicea or top 10, top 5? Let me know on the comments below. And if there are other Boadicea fragrances that you would like me to review, I know you guys have been bugging me about Hanuman. I'm gonna compare it to Boadicea Freak once and for all, so that comparison video is gonna come out soon. Please let me know in the comments below if I missed anything, guys. Okay, and again, I'm going to link a lot of those Boadicea videos at the end so you guys can binge watch those, guys. Okay, and again, I thank you guys for liking and subscribing. I'll be back with another video maybe tomorrow, and I'll see you guys soon. This is Troy D. Have a great day. Peace.